Greg, it's been an interesting week
Did
because
you go to the theater? Did you watch stuff on streaming? What'd you see? What'd you see?
I went to the movie theater. In fact, I went to the Charles Theater in Baltimore, which is a theater that's been around for the better part of the last century. It's a historic theater. They do a lot of
What's it
events.
called? I'm gonna
And
find a picture of it.
the Charles Theater, it's in down. No, not downtown, but it's in Baltimore. Greg, I watch. First of all, awesome theater. I love going to. Can I say I love going to historic movie theaters or old movie theaters because there's a special vibe about them. And the fact that they're not a chain means that the people who go to those theaters really like watching movies at the movie theater and they're there for that experience. And therefore, when you go in and sit down, nobody's like flipping through Instagram, nobody's texting, nobody's taking a picture for their Snapchat story. Everyone's just like eating their popcorn, drinking their Coca Cola, and enjoying cinema, which is a very old man crotchety take for me to have. But it's nice because I appreciate and respect. There is a Charles Theater, Baltimore. Yeah, I just went. I was just there. It's awesome. In fact, this Sunday I'm gonna go there to watch Here Tick. They do a Cinema Sundays club where you show up on a Sunday and they serve you bagels and coffee. They do like a Q&A and then they show a movie at like 10:30 in the morning. And it's just a club of people who enjoy watching movies, man. And as somebody who loves going to the theater, it makes me sad when I go to AMC and people are like just there because they just want to kill time on like a Friday night and they're like talking, they're on their phones, they're walking in and out of the theater, just
Dude,
doing random bullshit.
the phone.
Um,
The phone is fucking catatonic. Like I've told you stories about our theater, but like you go to see a movie and everyone's on their damn phone the whole movie. They're scrolling
yeah,
their feed, they're on shorts, they're messaging, they're not paid. Like it's awful. Like I really feel like leave your
I'm with you.
freaking phone in the car. Come on. Like it's
I
awful.
I look,
Awful.
I dream. One of my dreams is to own and operate my own movie theater, and I would straight up walk to the front of the auditorium before every screening. If I see your phone, we're asking you to leave. I'm asking you to get out of my goddamn theater. That'd be
Yeah,
me as a
right.
theater owner if I owned a cinema. But I say all that to say, Greg, I went to the Charles Theater in Baltimore last Friday, and I saw a movie called Anora. If you want to pull up like a trailer for it, which we should be fine. I hope we don't get like any stings for it because it's a very sexual film, but the trailer shouldn't have any of that in there. Essentially, Greg, let me paint the scene for you. Anora is like, I think the way that they described it is like a ghetto Cinderella. It's like a modern, like it's set in Brooklyn, New York, and essentially it's about this young woman. Her name is Anora, and she is a stripper. She works at a strip club. She's also a bit of an escort. And the son of this very wealthy Russian family comes to the club one night. They kind of hit it off and they kind of spur on this relationship with each other that's kind of like a mix of romance but also money because this dude's like rich as hell. He lives in a mansion in New York City. He has, wealth beyond belief. And you have this woman who is struggling living in Brooklyn with like three roommates and dances at a club, and it is kind of just their relationship kind of playing out over the course of 2 hours. And there's drama that comes into it because obviously his family is very wealthy and prominent. They don't want their son to be dating and marrying a club dancer, a stripper. And of course, she has her own wishes and dreams. And it's sort of just this clashing of like the American dream kind of from both characters because this dude's Russian. He barely speaks English. Him wanting, to kind of settle down and have his own life, and Honora kind of trying to get out of the life she has. And it's just such a great like story. I think such a like surprisingly and deceptively like heartfelt story. Because obviously on the surface, you're like, oh, okay, main character stripper. You think it'll be surface level. You think it'll be kind of just gimmicky, and there'll be a bunch of sex scenes and stuff. And sure, there's a lot of sex in this movie, but there are so many like endearing moments, and especially in the third act, there are some like conversations and interactions that like watching in the theater, the people in the audience were all just like, fuck, like collectively, just like, damn, because it does become just so sincere and profound. It really does make you step back and like just think of um not only just the way that we value ourselves, how we look at our own lives and our goals and ambitions and how things are taken from us and given to us. They show in the trailer that it won the Palme d'Or at Cannes Film Festival, which I know sounds like the most fancy, like schmancy movie bullshit thing ever, but it's the like the award they give out to the best movie at the Cannes Film Festival every year. Parasite won that several years ago, but It's an awesome movie. Obviously, I had a bit of extra excitement going into this because, as you see, the main character is played by Mikey Madison, who, allow me to give you some lore. She was in Scream 5, everybody. She's one of the main characters in that movie. She's part of the little core group of friends there. Scream, the one that brought the series back in 2022. Maybe the most talked about movie on this show, next to Ghostbusters. She's great in it. I recommend going to watch Scream 5. She's great in that movie. But yeah, she's the main character here, and I mean, she's awesome. Oscars aren't until like March, but I would bet money she's going to be nominated for Best Actress for this movie. She is so good. Her Brooklyn accent is authentic, but also hilarious. The way she talks in this movie is just so funny. In general, I laughed at this movie way more than I thought I would. It's really hilarious. Just the culture shock of this like Russian dude being in New York and like not knowing anything about American life and pretty much learning it through an escort, this woman he met at a strip club, just makes for so many really funny moments. And then even like the henchmen that like the family sends to kind of like knock some sense into the sun, they're so funny. Uh, it's an awesome movie. It's gonna be one of my favorites of the year. It's up there with like Challengers. It's probably like top two, top three best movies of the year for me so far. I think it's absolutely excellent. It's a Neon movie, which Neon is like A24's rival at this point. They're like the two indie powerhouses, and they kind of are always punching at each other with new movies. But this was an excellent moving picture. Great time at the cinema. I've been thinking about this movie since I saw it almost a week ago. It was very good.
Is it streaming anywhere? Or is it a limited theoretical release?
It's limited release. It's so limited that I almost wasn't able to see it because it was one of those where like a couple weeks ago it came out. They were like now playing in theaters, and it was in like New York and Los Angeles. And I was like, "Excuse me, that's not really in theaters. You know, a good portion of the world doesn't live in those two cities." And then they started rolling it out. And then last week, it wasn't even at my local AMC last week. That's why I went to this theater to see it, which ended up being a happy accident because it was an awesome theater. But it's just now this weekend getting to like all like, just normal regular theaters, Regal, AMC, Cinemark, wherever you go. Um, It'll probably be on VOD in like a month, I imagine by like December. Neon will put it up online. They'll probably do what A24 does. I don't know where it'll be. You probably have to rent it or something. But once it's available, I think it's worth checking out. I'm sure Nicole will enjoy it because I know you said she likes movies with sex in them. This one has a lot.
Do you like
So
movies with love triangles? Is there a love triangle?
there, kind of. There's definitely a lot of love. There's a lot of love,
Yeah,
yeah.
she might be
But
into it. I'll give her. Like that's the thing.
but
I
it's
think that it's so hard to make a movie and it's so hard to get distribution. And I know that streaming has gotten even more difficult to get your platform on because they want money from you now to like stream your movie on whatever
yeah.
platform Netflix is. So it's rough. And so I feel like limited. It's great to go to the theater. It's great to do that, but like at the same time, it limits how many people can see your movie and the people who have access to it, which is rough. Because this movie probably had no marketing, right? Because they probably spent every penny making the movie. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
that was the big
Yeah.
thing. Like it's expensive, and like they didn't have money. They don't have money for marketing. They don't have money to give Netflix to put them on their platform for 2 months. It's
No.
it's rough.
There's also no money in that. There's no money in putting your movie on Netflix because
Yeah,
people
that's
just
true.
watch it with their subscription. They don't rent it. They
Yeah,
don't pay any money to watch it, and then they move on. And obviously, it's no secret that Netflix isn't, giving out residuals or anything like that when people play on the movies. So, um, that's probably this movie's best bet is being in the theater. And it's indie, but it is Sean Baker. Like this isn't like me making a movie. Sean Baker's like a known filmmaker. He did the Florida Project, this movie called Red Rocket. Like he has made stuff. In Neon, like I said, is like on A24's level, where it's like they're indie, but like they're indies that you know about, So I'm very curious to see how this movie does. I do wonder if it'll be a similar trajectory to a movie like Parasite or Everything Everywhere All at Once, where it starts off super under the radar and then word of mouth just builds and builds and builds like an avalanche. And next thing you know, it becomes like a household name movie by the time like Oscar season rolls around. Would be like the best outcome here, but it's a great movie. It's just one of those you watch and you're like that is a capital F film just from beginning to end. It is so good. It's well written, directed, acted. Even the dude that plays like the Russian guy, just every little mannerism, the way he talks. He's like learning English, so he switches back and forth. But there's a scene where he's like trying to have a heartfelt conversation, and he's like, "I'm nervous, so I'm just gonna say it in Russian." There's just so many small details. You, Greg, will laugh because there's like three different scenes where he's playing video games, and you just see him holding a controller, but he's doing like the movie acting thing where he's holding the controller and he's like doing like this. He's like,
You're pressing too many buttons. Like, you don't press that many buttons
yeah.
that many times. Like, come on.
He's like, I'm like, people don't play like this. And then the camera cuts and you see the TV and he's playing Gears of War, and I'm like, bull fucking shit.
You're like, yeah, sorry, dude.
Yeah. So they do that, which I thought was funny. I was like, okay, they set this actor up. But yeah, it's great. It's really good. I thought it was a lot of fun. And I'm probably gonna rewatch it. I look forward to buying this one. Sometimes I walk out of a movie and I'm like, yep, I'm buying that in fucking 4K, Ultra HD, whatever the hell you got. And this is one of them.
Is
It'll stick
the
with me for
Russian
a
family
while.
mafia, or is it just old money?
It's so funny because they don't tell you explicitly,
So
but they do
it's
dance
like up to
around.
your interpretation how he had the
It's up to
world.
your interpretation, but they do say that very early on. She's like, what are you guys like drug dealers? Like you guys sell like weapons and stuff, and then it's like they just say the name of the family, and everybody's like, oh shit, it's them. Like we know who that is, but like it's they don't tell you. I mean, watching the movie, it can only be one of a few things, but they don't outright say. But it does create this tension though, where I'm like, are they gonna try to like kill this woman? You know, are they gonna come after Anora? The family's very imposing, but so much of the funny comes from that part of the movie as
You know,
well.
I feel like
It's
what is the company
excellent.
you said who makes this?
Neon,
So I think Neon,
the producer.
I think Neon and A24 are way ahead of the curve. And my prediction, and we can timestamp this too. My prediction is that over the next 30 years, as Universal and Warner Brothers start to hemorrhage cash because they don't understand how to make movies anymore, you know what I mean? Like, and once
Mhm.
like it'll be Neon and A24's time to shine. Like, there will be a
Yeah,
shift in power. I guarantee it. You know what I mean? Like, yes,
right.
Universal and Warner Brothers have those hits every now and again, but like they're having more issues like Joker too than they are successes. And they don't, and I think the leadership at those studios don't understand how to make a
Mhm.
movie anymore. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, well,
Yeah.
just you throw this in, you do this for visual effects. Venom 3 looked like a fucking shit show and I have no interest, but it made $300 million. Like, every once in a while, you get those disposable movies come out and make a lot of money, but like more or not, they fail. And I think A24 and Neon understand what it makes to make a film, and it doesn't all have to be artsy, right? It doesn't have to be all artsy and weird. It
No.
can, you know what I mean? Like, it's just about stories and characters and good
A24
acting.
said themselves that in the future they want to make more mainstream movies. They straight up said that. They were like, we do want to make movies that just like are blockbusters and like are more recognized. Not everything has to be like a weird psychological thriller that like cinephiles love and nobody else does. Yeah, I think to me, Greg, it all just comes down to budget, right?
Right?
Like, I don't know. Let's see, what was Anora's budget? I bet it wasn't $200 million.
It's a couple million bucks, easily. Couple million, maybe 2 million, 3 million, maybe 2-3 million.
The
I'm gonna guess 2-3
reported
million.
the reported budget according to Wikipedia is $6 million
Okay, so close,
for Nora,
close. Yeah.
and it's already made 9 million, and it comes out in wide release today. Like it's not even fully in wide release yet, so this movie's gonna make its money back, probably a lot more. But even if it didn't, even if it just stopped right now and made $9 million, and they kind of like maybe broke even, maybe lost a little bit, wouldn't you rather lose $1 million than $100 million, like Warner Brothers just did with Joker 2? You know, it's about scale and stuff
There's
because you can take
scale,
more
there's
risks with
egos,
the
there's
movie.
fee. Yeah, there's a lot of due process. It's a bigger production, so there's more interference. There's a lot of weird things on that level. But I think Neon and A24 have got the formula down, which is we
Yeah.
just want to tell good stories, which is wild to me that Universal, Warner Brothers, Fox can't figure this shit out. You know what I mean? Like, they just
Mhm.
can't. They just say, oh, visual effects and celebrities? No. Stop it. Like,
It's about keeping budgets down,
yeah.
man. It just keep budgets down because you can take a risk with a $10 million movie because a loss of 10 million is probably not going to bankrupt the studio unless it was already on the edge. But a loss of $200 million is how people will never work again. You know, so it all comes down to that. And I recommend this movie more than anything. I just please watch Anora. If you've seen this show, you have any slight interest, check it out. Also, got to shout out Slinky Jim's comment. If you're good like that in Gears, yeah, everyone knows the claw method, you know, which is actually a thing. So I guess there's that. Yeah,
I'm doing
yeah.
it.
When you're on round 27 in horde mode, that's how it gets. But yeah,
Wild. Okay,
Anora.
so I'll give it when it goes on VOD. I'll see how much it is, and maybe I'll rent it and give it a shot. I will take.
Yeah.